Rick Neuheisel, former college coach at UCLA and Washington and Colorado, now works for CBS. He joins us on the program. Did we learn more about USC or Colorado this past weekend?
Oh, I think we learned more about USC. Listen, Alex Grinch has been doing this for a long time with kind of similar results. They just don't tackle well. And until they tackle well, I don't know that they can be called the favorite in the Pac-12. They're certainly accomplished on offense. Caleb Williams is magnificent and does great things almost every time out, but that defense is showing itself to be vulnerable.
Okay, but explain that you can't tackle. Can you change that during the course of a season?
Well, I would go back to how they practice. I just, everybody's trying to keep everybody healthy, and we understand that, but somehow, some way, the tackling in that particular practice, and if you go back and watch practice film of the Pete Carroll days, it was scrimmage almost every day. Yeah. I mean, they would just go at it. That isn't happening in this particular deal. Otherwise, you'd see different results.
What do you see with Caleb Williams?
I see Patrick Mahomes. I see a guy that just basically understands certainly the play called, but then loves to play the play that he creates by extension when he gets out and just moves about and kind of has a sixth sense of where these guys are going to end up being and can throw them open. He's magnificent.
Deion's son, Shadeur, it feels like there's a coming out party. At least there was. Mel Kiper goes, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. Is he on the level with Caleb Williams?
He's close. He's been terrific, and his ability to make every platform throw has been really fun to watch as well. Going to his left, going to his right, the changing trajectories despite arm angles. Go back to that TCU game, that fourth down play where a guy got in his face and he had to basically drop one over the top to the kid in the flat. That was a fantastic play and something you can't script. He just has it. So he's right there.
How would you grade Colorado's season so far?
Off the charts. I think Rick George, the athletic director at Colorado, going to have surgery to get the smile off his face. I can only imagine what his face looked like when he was telling the student body not to storm the field. He was going, fingers crossed over here on his left hand as he's writing it with his right. Listen, it has been magnificent. The amount of attention that the program has gotten and the amount of eyeballs that have sitting there and watched the campus in Boulder, whether it be on, Big Noon or game day, that is invaluable for the brand for recruiting purposes. Listen, getting a phone call from Prime would be awesome as a kid, but watching that, you want to be a part of it. And Colorado is going to reap unbelievable benefit in the recruiting world because of it.
We're talking to Rick Neuheisel, CBS Sports college football analyst, former college head coach. Who are the great teams in college football this year?
I think Texas is on the verge of being a great team, which is why this Texas-Oklahoma game this week is really interesting. Quietly, we're talking about lots of quarterbacks. You just mentioned a couple, Caleb Williams and Shadeur Sanders, Bo Nix, Michael Penix out there in the West Coast having monster years. This kid, Dylan Gabriel, is having a big-time season quietly because the conversation has been the transformation of their defense. He's a 75% passer. I think he's got, something like 14 touchdown passes against just 2 picks. I mean, he's playing magnificently, over 300 yards a game. So this game with him and Quinn Ewers is going to be one to behold.
What do you make of Arch Manning?
He's, biding his time. He has the luxury of a family that understands patience. He has the luxury of a family that needs nothing in the way of attention. They just are going to wait their turn. I think Quinn Ewers is going to vault. He was my pick to win the Heisman. He's going to have some stages here coming up. Texas fans are craving this kind of attention. This is going to be fun. But Arch Manning is sitting there watching this all develop. And while Colorado's going to reap a bunch of recruits, so too will Texas, as Sark has got things going.
Has college football moved up to Georgia's level and Alabama's level, or have they dipped down a little bit?
Maybe a little bit of both. Georgia, at first I believed it was Georgia just kind of going through the doldrums of preseason. Nobody really of note to play, nobody really get fired up. So many good players trying to make sure everybody was happy getting their chances to play. But now that they've kind of focused on Brock Bowers, they're back going again. I thought it was crazy that Auburn didn't have some plan to bracket him because Hugh Freeze really had a chance in that game. But in the two SEC games, they've been behind in both. Halftime at the South Carolina game, they were sitting there down 14-3, and then this game 17-10 in the second half. It was they've come back down to earth, which makes the SEC really fun to watch right now.
Go back when you were coaching. Did you coach against a player that was just unstoppable? Like you didn't have an answer whether it was offense or defense?
Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams at Texas when I was at Colorado was a handful. I mean, goodness gracious, was he fantastic. I remember John Elway at Stanford. That was one of my playing days. We beat them 38-35 and just were so thankful that the clock ran out. You just couldn't stop Elway when he got going. So yeah, I've been on some stadiums where it looked that way.
I noticed you slipped it in that you beat Elway.
Yeah, noticed it. Yeah. Well, it wasn't me. It was Tom Ramsey. I had good view from the sideline. The clipboard. Yeah, I had the clipboard in that one day. Oh,
describe Elway in college.
He's John Wayne. He's going to come in and save the townspeople. He rides into town, and he just had that swashbuckling feel about him and such a big arm that he'd break contain. He had that patented, give you the front shoulder, then back out the other way, and then get all the way over to the left side of the field and throw back to some Stanford, walk-on receiver over on the right side. And you're going, how did he do that? But ultimately his chief weapon was he believed that something good was going to happen at the end of the game.
Compare his ability, Mahomes, Rodgers, Elway, anybody else you want to throw in there. Just the ability to play quarterback.
They have taken it to the level where they manipulate you. They're not dealing with manipulation. They manipulate you. They get to a place where they know exactly what's going on the opposite side of the ball. So they have what they want in the pre-snap, but they have such unique confidence that if it's not good, they'll sit and wait for their little pocket or seam in the pocket to open up, and then they'll escape to a spot, which now creates the second play in their little weaponry, which is the extended play. And now they just start firing darts at you, and you're just holding on for dear life.
I haven't spoken to you since the Pac-12 was decimated. Your thoughts on the burial?
I've been looking for the candle in the vigil, in your on your set there. Yeah, it's sad. We're down to the Pac-2, and I think everybody who's got any soul at all is pulling hard for both Oregon State and Washington State to get everything, to get the kit and caboodle, to just keep all the assets and to find some way to incorporate with the current Mountain West. And I love the idea that they're trying to bring this relegation and promotion idea from European soccer, because that to me is the way to save the rest of college football. If we can find a way to get a group of five to have a way to, get promoted to the Power Five in the future of this Super 2 that we're entering, I think that would be wonderful for the game. It would put a spotlight on more players and keep more scholarships, which I think is the end goal.
Good to talk to you as always. Thank you, bud.
My man.
Rick,
See you, DP.
Rick Neuheisel.